interested in the guy than he is in you? Do you wish you knew exactly what it takes to make a man fall in love with you? Well, you actually can get what it takes to make any man fall in love with you. And it takes 5 simple concepts that, if you just understand these things, you'll be able to get any man you want to be madly in love with you, and it won't even be his choice. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're participating and you're paying attention in the live stream and you're here with me, please say you're present in the live stream so I know that you're ready and paying attention. Okay? Someone said, "Don't see you on YouTube." I'm on YouTube. Should be there. Should be going. Should be ready. How are you guys doing today? Let me know if there's any technical difficulties. Clearly, I have a different setup going on today, so I want to make sure there's no technical difficulties going on and that you guys are all good. And like they said, why you always late? Okay, so today specifically, I was late simply because I'm moving my stuff into a new studio dedicated to just the show. So that's why I was late today. So I had a couple things that were a little bit outside my control, and I had to, it's like actually like a different space. Yeah, that's the reason the chair's different. And that's the reason things look a little bit different. This is like a totally different place than I usually live stream. I just want you guys to know I take it seriously. So that's why I was late, not because I was just dilly-dallying around. All right. So glad to have all you amazing, beautiful people here today. Let's get started. Okay. And we'll obviously discuss as time goes on. So I want you guys to first understand the idea of engaging emotions. Okay. Now, it's very important that we nail this concept down because this is going to be the crux of everything that we discuss today. Forcing a man to fall in love. Now, I know the title sounds intense, forcing him to fall in love. It should be his choice. He should feel like he's in love with me. He should want to be in love with me. Like, it should be natural. It should be genuine. It should be true love. Cool. When I say forcing a man to fall in love, all I'm simply talking about is the things that you can do, and we always talk about this at the Players Club, the things that you can do to elicit particular responses from men that have them treat you or present themselves to you or approach you in the way that you want them to approach you. Priya says, "Is this live or pre-recorded?" It's very live. I can see you and see everything you're saying. Okay, so it's very important to understand that engaging emotions is the most important part of this process. I know some of you might hear from people, they talk about, oh, well, you know, you got it. It's about the physical. It's about your dump trucks, about your voluptuosities. Cool. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like men aren't visual creatures. Okay, that's not what I'm going to say. But when we're talking about getting a man to fall in love with you, it's all about the emotional and understanding how to engage his emotions, that you'll get him to respond in ways to you that are really outside of his control. But this is the best part. Okay, wait. Yeah, I know it's manipulation. It's a lot of manipulation, but this is the best part about it, is that when you do this properly, he won't feel like you're trying to control him. He won't feel like you're trying to make the decision for him. He won't feel like you're trying to force him to feel a particular way. What's going to happen is he's going to feel like anything he does is genuine to him because the feelings and the emotions and the opinions and the perspectives he has is truly his own. So the whole idea of this is understanding, this is the purpose that I serve in your life, is giving you a man's perspective and giving you the way that we think, the way that we come to conclusions, the way that we approach relationships, that you can use that knowledge against other men in your life. And when the process of dating them, you can anticipate how they're going to respond to things and use that knowledge and the way you're able to anticipate my reaction to things by doing something or saying something that you know will elicit a particular reaction. Okay? Nindi says, but love is not emotions. But decision, I agree. I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, right? And I know some people be like, oh, well, love's not supposed to be about transactional or anything like that. Okay. Brittany says, I don't know if Tomisin has answered my question on Discord yet. I definitely, if I didn't answer it yesterday, then I'll definitely get to it by today. So please, if any of you have a question for me on Discord, feel free to go down into the link in my description or go into the link in my bio on TikTok, and I'll answer your question on Discord at the end of the show. Okay. So as we're talking about engaging emotions, I see Rick Me says, give some examples. I'm ready to give you examples. Okay. Hold on. So engaging emotions, I just talked to you guys about why it's important. Now let's understand, we're going to go through some of the major emotions that are the most important for you to engage in the process of this dating stage. Why are they the most important to engage? Because when he feels those things intensely, those are going to trigger the response of, oh, I want her, or oh, I desire her, right? Those are the natural things. And you'll see when we go through all of these emotions, when you start thinking back to yourself, I also want you to be thinking about your own relationships, specifically the relationships that you've had with men, the ones that you've liked the most. And when I describe these emotions, I want you to be thinking about those relationships with those guys and see if it correlates the same for you, meaning if you've had that same emotion towards the guys that you've really liked, and vice versa, the guys that you didn't like as much, you didn't have that emotion towards them, then you know we're on to something here. And if you can engage and elicit that same response that you had when you really liked that guy, then you know you're capable of getting that same response from him, which is him being really interested in you. Okay? Does that make sense so far? Now, some examples of engaging emotions. I told you we're going to get to the specific emotions, but when I'm saying an example of engaging an emotion, an example of that would be understanding. I watched this really amazing, funny YouTube, or I think it was an Instagram reel. I wish I could share it with you guys. When I get this more organized, I'll be able to share my screen and stuff with you guys. But it actually exemplifies what I mean by engaging emotions. So this couple was paddling on a lake. They were going like kayaking together in still water, nothing crazy. And you can kind of tell like they're kind of outdoorsy people and stuff like that, but nothing too crazy. And so, the girlfriend is sitting in the front in the kayak. She's taking a video, and the boyfriend's in the back of the kayak. He's just kind of chilling. And they're floating across this lake, floating across. And she says to him, "Oh, my big, strong man, look at those muscles. Can you paddle us? Can you paddle us faster? Look at your big, strong muscles," because they're just kind of sitting there, right? And she's trying to get him to paddle the boat. But rather than saying, "Oh, can you please paddle? Why do you never paddle? Oh my gosh, I got to do everything around here. Oh my gosh, why? Like, we're not moving anywhere." Instead of complaining, she said to him, this is on the video. "Look at my big, strong man. Look at those muscles busting out of you. You gonna paddle us to our destination, baby? You better paddle us. You gotta paddle us to our destination. Look how big and strong you are." And that's literally how she's talking to him. And lo and behold, what happens? He's like this. He's like this. When the video starts, he's sitting like this. He's leaning back. He's tired. And then she starts engaging his emotions properly to elicit a response. And he starts smiling. He goes, and then what do you know? He starts paddling, and he starts viciously paddling them to their destination, okay? And the reason I give that example is because I want you to understand, when you tap into your skill set, your superpower of being able to be emotionally intelligent, being able to understand how emotions will control, motivate, and inspire people to take action in particular ways, you become so powerful that you're able to get whatever you want out of people, and they're happy about it. That's the craziest part, is that for some of you, I know for some of you, when you come on the show, you think, "Oh, but this is manipulative. Oh, but this isn't right. Oh, but that's not genuine," or "Oh, that's wrong. That's not true love." But the reality of it is, when this is done right, everyone is happy. That's the craziest part. You're happy because you get what you want from that guy, and he's happy because he feels like everything he does was genuine to him. And you don't have to let him in on the magic trick. You really don't. You can just sit there and relax and chill, having an understanding that you got the response you wanted and you got it the way you wanted, but he's happy about it regardless. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why it's so important to understand how to engage emotions, because in that example that I gave, right, the approach is what led her to her destination. She wanted him to paddle the boat and paddle it faster and get them to their destination faster. But the approach is what got her her result, because she could have complained and then maybe he would have argued, or maybe he would have made excuses about why he's tired or why he can't paddle this time or why she should do it instead. But her approach got her result, her desired result, quickly, in a hurry, and very efficiently. And even when he did paddle that boat, he wasn't thinking to himself, gosh darn, I'm only paddling this boat because she told me to. Gosh darn, I'm only paddling this boat because she complained about it. Gosh darn, I'm only paddling this boat because we argued about it. No, he said to himself, I'm paddling this boat because I am that big, strong man, and I'm going to show her how big and strong I am, and da da da. And so he was happy giving her the response and the reaction that she already wanted him to give. And so when you realize this as your superpower, you're able to really tap into any one of your relationships and get whatever it is you want from people. Okay. Avatar Baby says words of affirmation, right? It's a part of that. And understanding how you can use words and even actions and even a lack of actions or a lack of words to elicit a plethora of different responses, all which serve to your benefit. Okay. Sounds like manipulation because it is. Okay. So now let's hop into some of the key emotions that are so important to engage. Now, I know naturally, let me make sure you guys are still following me along. You guys good? Are we on the same page so far? Ivy says, doesn't this inflate his already out of control ego? Well, here's the thing, Ivy, is understanding how to engage his emotions properly is not about just giving him random compliments on a random day and saying whatever. It's about being strategic about what you say and how you say it, and giving it in quality, not quantity, that when you do it, when you do it, it actually is impactful enough to change the situation or adjust his behavior. Not that you just say it for the sake of inflating his ego, right? Because you have to understand, the best way to serve yourself, and this is on topic, this is part of the conversation we're having. The best way to serve yourself is to understand how the things you can say and do serve others as well. And this is like a life thing. This isn't even just relationships, and it's not just men. Because the better you can identify how you can do or say something that benefits you, but also benefits someone else, you can actually get what you want exactly how you want it. But people are happy to give that to you because it benefits them also. So as it relates to what Ivy just asked, well, isn't this inflating his already inflated ego? My answer to that is, well, even if it does, and your desired result is still accomplished because of his inflated ego, then you've accomplished your goal and he's happy. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be you get what you want because you understand how to engage his emotions, or you don't get what you want because you're unwilling to engage his emotions, or you think that it'll be manipulative, or you think it'll be bad, or something like that because you do that. Okay, it can actually be both, where he's happy to do what it is that you wanted or treat you how it is you wanted to be treated, but you're also happy because you're getting that as well. Okay. Skit says it's going to backfire and you're going to be alone. I promise you. Well, here's the thing is that if you figure out how to do it in a way where the man also benefits from it, then everyone's happy, like I said earlier. Okay, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be a battle against my will or your will. It can actually be both of your wills and everyone's happy doing the thing. Okay, so engaging emotions was the overall umbrella topic in under which we will start discussing emotions. Now, I know when you think, okay, how to force a man to fall in love with you, you're thinking to yourself, okay, so he's got to feel a bunch of good positive emotions towards me. He's got to feel a bunch of good things. He's got to feel a bunch of positivity and amazingness towards me and towards our dates, and everything has to be good, and I've got to be so peaceful and so easy to get along with and all that good stuff. In reality, okay, that sounds good in a movie, but in reality, men don't really respond the best to the girls who are trying to be liked the most. Okay, I want you to soak that in. Men don't. This is one of those things that the men say they want peace, and to an extent they do, but they don't really. Right? They are not engaged as much with the women who are constantly trying to find every way to be liked. Okay? They end up chasing after the women who are engaging their emotions, including the negative emotions. Okay, including the negative ones. Now, the reason I say that is because I want you to understand that there is no negative or positive emotions. There's just emotions. However, I want you to understand how negative emotions can also be a positive thing, because especially when we talk about this emotion, which is anxiety can lead a guy to feeling that he needs to have you in his life, or it can increase his desire to have you in his life. And the anxiety that he feels when you're not around can actually be a great symbol to him, to help him understand within himself internally that I feel this anxiety because I'm not with her, because I'm not speaking to her, because I'm not spending time with her. Okay? And I want you to understand, when you go out on these dates with these guys, we'll talk about euphoria in a bit. We'll talk about why it's good to make him feel good. That's pretty straightforward. But what a lot of you are missing is the understanding that it's also good to allow him the space to miss you and even feel anxiety when he's not around you. Let me know in the chat if you love texting the guy you're in a relationship with. And when I say you love texting, like, I mean, like, you like it to be like all the time, 24/7, like all throughout the day, and you kind of get bent out of shape if you're not texting the guy that you're in a relationship with consistently, like throughout the day. Let me know if that's you, and be honest with me. Don't lie. Be honest with me. If you quite enjoy texting and being able to text your man all throughout the day. Okay. Courtney says me. Jenny says, I used to be like that, but learning. CMS says, no, I actually find it annoying. Okay. Okay. Base Beauty says, I'm single right now, but here to learn from my mistakes. Good. That's perfectly fine. But yes, I thought texting was a vital part in connection. I'm not good at texting, so no. Once Upon a Time says, okay. I think it was Bree says, yeah, I like talking throughout the day, but but I'll act like I don't. Okay. I don't like to text in general, SH says. Stargirl says, someone kicks Skits out. He's disturbing the master. Nobody disturbs me. Anyone can speak freely in the chat if they feel like speaking freely of their opinion. Okay. Tina says, I don't like texting that much, but I like communicating, at least in a more brief way. Okay. So the reason I ask you guys that question and why I think it's important, because I want you to understand that if you are constantly, I don't want to start ranting. If you are constantly texting your man 24/7 all the time, you're not even giving him the space to feel anxiety when you're not around. Okay? Think about this logically. what is there for him to be anxious about? If you're texting him 24/7, and then the only time you're not texting him is when you're with him or you're seeing him or you're spending time with him. Now, I know someone said earlier, communication and all that good stuff. Now, I'm not saying, oh, you're married for 30 years, never text your man and never tell him, never update him on your life or anything like that. But I want you to get rid of the mindset that texting is a form of getting to know someone or building a relationship with someone, for a couple of reasons. One, it's a horrible way to build a relationship because you're not going to be building any type of relationship when you're texting a guy 24/7. But in this case specifically, when we're talking about how to force a man to fall in love with you, that he's not going to feel anxiety if you're around 24/7. Because the thing about it is, you text guys because you feel like you're able to talk to them 24/7 and spend time with them 24/7. But the crazy part about it is the guys also end up feeling like that after a while. And as they end up feeling like that they're talking to you 24/7, how can he possibly feel any anxiety towards you or the relationship? Now, I want you to relate that to any man or guy that you've been dating or been in a talking stage with. And if you've ever had anxiety or a lot of anxiety with that man specifically. So let me know in the chat, the guys, when you're thinking about the relationships you've had and the guys you've liked the most, would you say that there is a correlation? Correlation just means that it's related. Would you say that there's a correlation between the guys that you've liked the most giving you the highest amount of anxiety? Let me know in the chat now if you feel like the guys that you've dated or talked to that you've liked the most have given you the most anxiety. Okay? I'm curious what you guys have to say, because I want to relate this back to you so that you can really soak in the idea of what we're trying to get here. Okay. Real Life Doll says they did. And Guzo says, yep. My own soulmate says, yep. Says distance can make you even miss each other, and the time they spend can be really, I think you might say, like, important. I get what you're trying to say. Jenny says yes. Bay says yeah, because it's always the unavailable ones. See? CMS says in the past, yes, but now I prefer a happy medium. In the YouTube chat, That'll says yes. Marissa says yes. Like Nate says yes. Okay. So the reason Nicole says yes, I don't want anxiety though. Okay. The reason I say that, and I'm actually glad, Nicole, I'm glad that you said that you don't want anxiety. Here's the thing. And this is why this is so amazing. Because men don't want anxiety either. This is why the title of the show today is How to Force a Man to Fall in Love. Because when you understand how to do this and get the response that you're trying to get, it's not really about what he wants, what he likes, or what he dislikes. It's just about what he responds to and how he responds to that. And, Nicole said earlier, she's like, I don't want anxiety, but it does, the guys that I have liked, they gave me anxiety. That's the thing. The men also don't necessarily come out and be like, I want anxiety, but they respond in terms of chasing after and desiring the most the women that also give them anxiety. And so I say that to say, I want you to understand yourself how giving him anxiety can actually end up being a net positive for you, because the guys the same way are only going to be chasing after and desire the most the women who are giving them the most anxiety. Unfortunately, the women who aren't giving them any source of anxiety are the ones that they don't spend a lot of time and brain power thinking about. And if I'm going to be honest with you, the only way a man can truly be in love with you for real is if he has quite a bit of an obsession towards you, right? There's no form of love for men that comes in a casual, we're in a relationship and I just kind of love you. It's just kind of casual for me. It's just kind of whatever for me. Not really super important, but you're there and you no. That's not how men are when they're really in love. When they're really in love, it's like an obsession. It's like they're on fire. They're engaged. They're there. They're present. They want it. They're chasing after it. They desire it. All that good stuff. And so I say that to say, if you're not giving him anxiety, then you're not doing this right. And if you are giving him anxiety, whether or not he likes it or dislikes it, it's not about that. It's about the way he responds to it. I want to shout out Mary Jane. Mary Jane donated $15 in the YouTube chat. She sent in a super chat for $15 as a donation. Thank you so much, Mary Jane. Everyone give a round of applause for Mary Jane. That was, I think that's the new number one, or did someone donate $30? Anyways, one of the biggest ones I've had on since I've been on the show. Mary Jane says, kind of new here, and everything Tomisin teaches is facts. It works. I wake up early every day looking forward to his lives. Thanks for doing what you do. I really appreciate you, Mary Jane, for the donation there. You guys are so generous. And for those of you as well who are gifting on TikTok, I see you, Jenny, and Redbone Mafia, and Foxy as well. Okay, I appreciate you guys so much for all the donations. Thank you, especially Mary Jane. Okay, so anxiety, right? And so the reason I brought up texting to you guys, and I know that some of you love the texting, love to get to know guys over text, love to talk over that phone, love to build your relationships over that phone. You know what I call that? I call that pen pals, because some of you are in a pen pal relationship where you don't really see each other, but you text and you call 24/7. For some of you guys, you don't even call. The reason I bring up texting is because it's a horrible way to not give him any anxiety. Because when you're texting him all the time, like I said earlier, all he's feeling is like you're present all the time, like you're talking to him all the time, like he's getting to know you all the time, even though he's not. He feels like it though. You guys are both fooling yourselves, fooling each other into thinking that your relationship is growing in a positive direction when it's actually not growing. You guys are tricking yourselves into feeling like you're actually building a real connection when you're not building a real connection. And the problem with that is when you actually try to meet in person, there's no real connection. Okay. Now, as it relates to forcing a man to fall in love and engaging his emotions, that anxiety, right? You can really get a man to feel anxiety if you're not texting him, because the same way you've become accustomed to putting a lot of onus on texting is the same way these guys end up putting a lot of onus on texting, right? And it matters to them. And they feel a little something if you're never going to be texting them back, if they always feel like you're too busy for them, if they always feel like you're doing something and they're not as important as the things that you're doing. Now, I know naturally you want to be like, but why would I want him to feel anxious? Why would I want him to feel like I don't like him? Why would I want him to feel like I'm too busy? Because when he feels like you don't like him as much as he likes you, when he feels like you might be a little bit too busy, when he feels like maybe he said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing, all that happens is he begins to replay in his mind everything he's ever said to you, everything he's ever done with you, every date you've ever had, and he thinks and he thinks and he just goes in spirals and spirals, thinking about everything you guys have been through, thinking about everything you guys have discussed, thinking about every date you've been on, whether he picked his fork up the wrong way or he made the wrong joke and you were upset with the joke and maybe you didn't like the joke, which is why you're not texting him anymore. Maybe you're on another date with someone you're more interested in, and because you're more interested in that guy, now you're not going to want to go on a date with him anymore, right? And the same way, think about it, the same way you begin to spiral when you really like a guy and he's giving you a lot of anxiety, maybe because he's not talking to you as much, he's not texting you, he's not seeming as interested in you, is the same way you can give him anxiety, and it will trigger that same response in him, except you know it will trigger that response, so you do it purposely. So it's really as simple as, when we talk about giving anxiety, and I know you guys want real actions, it's really as simple as staying off your phone. And I know for those of you who watch my show all the time, you hear me talk about this all the time, but it's really that important and it's really that game changing. Okay? It's really that game changing in terms of giving these guys anxiety, that they feel like you're not as interested in them. They feel like, you don't care about them. They feel like you have better things to do with your time. And you know what's so great about that? And when we talk about getting a guy to fall in love and all that good stuff, you know what's so great about that? He starts to treat you like the girl that's out of his league. You see, there's a particular way he will approach a girl that he already knows is out of his league. because he understands I shouldn't even be able to have a chance with you anyways. So I've got to put my best foot forward that hopefully I can get a chance with you. Now, the thing about it is, if he begins to categorize you as someone who is maybe below his level, someone he can manipulate, someone he can use, someone who needs him and needs his time, needs his attention, all that happens is he doesn't feel any anxiety. All he feels is security, because he knows you'll never leave. He knows you can't do better than him. He knows you don't even want to do better than him. He knows he's the most important thing in your life. And because he has no anxiety, he doesn't spend any of that time overthinking. He doesn't spend any of that time spiraling. He doesn't spend any of that time obsessing. See, some of you want a guy to be obsessed with you, but you don't really think about what it means to be obsessed. Being obsessed is not, yeah, I kind of like you, and, I treat this, like I like to be in a healthy relationship, and I like to give you your space when you need your space. And, if you say that you're upset with me, no. Being obsessed is like being on fire. They want you all the time. They want to spend every moment with you. They want to breathe in your air. They want to live in your skin. Like, obsession is very strong and very intense, right? And so for those of you that are like, well, why would I be giving my man anxiety? If you're not, he's not going to be feeling that same amount of intensity, overthinking, obsessing over each situation, obsessing over each word, obsessing over. Newsflash to you, men overthink as well. But you actually have to give them the space to overthink. You understand what I'm saying? This is why I say too much of anything can be a bad thing. And even too much security, especially at the beginning of a relationship, can be a bad thing, especially for the men. You want to be positioning yourself as in being someone who is slightly out of his league. It's like you have so many other options. If he doesn't put the best foot forward, you could easily find someone else who will crawl on glass for you and sniff your butthole. Right? And it keeps him on edge. So anxiety was the first important emotion to be engaging. Now, let's get to euphoria. It's very strategic. It's very strategic the way you want to give him euphoria. We just talked about the anxiety you can make him feel by staying off the phone. By the way, when I say stay off the phone, I mean only use the phone as a scheduling tool. When I say scheduling tool, hey, when are you free this week? Monday, I'm free on Tuesday. I got time to do this. Okay, we're going to hang out at this time. Okay, boy, I'm not free this time. We got to hang out at this time. Instead, use it as a scheduling tool and nothing else. I don't care how much he texts you. You keep it to a bare minimum and you let him know, hey, I don't have too much time to text. I don't have too much time to be on the phone. I've got a lot of stuff to do and I just can't be on the phone. If you want the best version of me, we got to be out somewhere. If you see me in person, you'll get a much better version of me. I'm so talkative and I like spending in-person time with you. That's how you use the phone. And that's how you use it to give him anxiety. Now, as it relates to euphoria, when I say euphoria, you're not just trying to make him feel good all the time, 24/7. Because just like I said to you, right, you have to have a contrast of emotions that take him up and down, that he can feel all of those different emotions intensely and begin falling for you. Falling in love with someone is an intense feeling. It's not chill. It's not relaxing. It's not laid back. Okay? So all of these emotions that you're engaging have to be intense. You cannot make an emotion or a feeling intense if he feels that 24/7 all the time, because that will just become his baseline. He will have nothing to compare it to. And even when things are good, because everything is always good, he'll never be able to actually feel the euphoria of the good thing happening, or of the amazingness happening, or of the positive emotion happening. Do you understand what I'm saying? Euphoria is only euphoria when you don't feel euphoria 24/7, or else it just becomes your baseline. Right? Now, as it relates to euphoria, why it's important to engage that, but only engage it at certain times in certain ways. What I'm specifically talking about is you want him to relate to seeing you and being around you in person, especially as you're building the relationship with him. You want him to relate being with you in real life, 3-dimensional, like he can touch your skin, he can feel you, he can see you. You're not a projection. You're not on the screen. You're not on the phone. You're in front of him in 3-dimensional space. You want him to relate that with euphoria. Okay? Now, I just finished telling you, I didn't say you want him to feel euphoria 24/7, which means I don't want you to be around him 24/7. Okay? Because that loses its potency when you're around him 24/7. I also don't want you to be trying to give him euphoria when you're not around. Okay? So it's very important to be strategic that he only feels this feeling. Remember, this whole series here, this whole show is about understanding how to engage and elicit the particular response that you want by engaging his emotions and particular emotions in particular ways. Now, when I'm talking about euphoria, you're not just trying to engage euphoria when you're, texting him and you're not hanging out with him. You're not just trying to engage euphoria when you're talking on the phone with him or even FaceTiming him. You're only trying to engage euphoria when you're actually with him in real life, in person, one-on-one, face-to-face, that he can begin associating you with the feeling of euphoria. Why? Because then you become like a drug. Are you following me still? Are you guys following me? Yes, no in the chat. I want to make sure you guys are still following me. Right? Once you're able to associate yourself and the feeling he feels when he's around you with euphoria, now when he's not with you and he has anxiety, he has two completely contrasting feelings that lead him to believe the best course of action is to commit to a relationship with her where I can consistently feel euphoria. Obviously, he's not writing this down in his notebook, but this is what he's subconsciously feeling. And this is what motivates him to say, okay, now I need to see her more. Now I want to spend more time with her. So now I need to take it from 1 date a week to 2 dates a week. I need to take it from 2 dates a week to 3 dates a week, right? Because I want to continue having that feeling that I feel when I'm around her. And I don't want to have that feeling of anxiety, stress, depression, sadness when I'm not with her. Do you see how this works? Okay. And do you see, is it kind of making a little bit more sense now? Okay. Sorry. I think it was, Bree says, euphoria means like a feeling of happiness or something. Sorry, I didn't describe. Sometimes I'd be using words without describing it. Euphoria just means happiness, overjoy, over the moon, right? Ecstatic, excited, all those, just that whole family of emotions and feelings. Okay. So you want him to be feeling that. It's like a high. Lorraine says exactly. It's like a high. You want him to be feeling that when he's around you, and specifically when he's with you in person and no other time. This is why I said it's very important to understand not just engaging the emotion, but the time in which you're trying to engage the emotion. Okay. Now, user said exactly what I was just going to say. You beat me to it. User asked how. When you're on a date with a man, the best way to make him feel euphoria is to make the entire date about him. It's crazy, right? Now, you're probably thinking, what? Make the entire date about him, make the relationship about him, make it all about him. Why would I make it about? I want it to be about me. I want to yap my brains out. I want to talk about me. I want to tell him how I feel. I want to tell him about my day. I want to tell him about everything I've been through. I want to tell him about my ex-best friend and how she didn't talk to me and how I hate her so much and how I blocked her. I want to tell him about my past relationship. I want this to be about, why should I make it all about him? That's so stupid. I want it to be about. No, what you want is for him to be at your mercy. If you want him to be at your mercy, remember what I talked to you about at the beginning. You have to figure out how you can get what you want by benefiting him in a way that he doesn't even realize you're getting what you want. When I do this sign, all that means is the synergy that happens when you can figure out how to elicit a response that feels genuine to him and feels good to him, that he gives you what you want and he's happy to do that. So when I talk about euphoria and making the entire date, making the entire relationship about him, we'll talk dates specifically. specifically, I'm talking about asking him questions. Asking him questions not just about his past relationships were good, past exes, about himself, being genuinely interested in himself, or pretending, I don't care what you do, right? But make him feel as if he is the most interesting thing on this planet. Some of you might say, isn't that just feeding his ego? Yes, it's feeding his ego, but it's also making him feel better about himself, right? And like I said before, what do I always tell? For those of you, I know we have a lot of new people on YouTube. We got a lot of new people on TikTok. What do I always tell you guys as it relates to dating and just human beings in general? People don't remember what you say. They remember what about you. I want to see who's an A+ student and really be paying attention. And you could teach all the new students in the chat. People don't remember what you say. They remember what about you. What do they remember about you? Not what you say. Who's an A+ student? Okay, I see some of you saying it. They remember how you make them feel. I seen all my amazing A+ students, Sharice and SH and Brianna. They got it right away. I already know they get it. And I see some of you amazing people. CMS got it as well. Okay, right? People don't remember what you say. They only remember how you make them feel. And if you think about it, I don't just want you guys to assume I'm right about everything and just, I can just pull stuff out of my butt and it's right. I really want you to really think about this for yourself. And if it's true for yourself, think about all the people that you've been romantic with, that have been in your life and that you've been in relationships with. Do you really ever remember every single thing that they've ever said? Or is the memory more clear about the emotions you went through and the feelings you had with that person, right? And that's what we're left with when we're away from people, is the feeling we had around that person. Now, the reason I bring that up is because when we're talking about euphoria, and we're talking about making sure you're strategic about making the date about him, that he can feel good about himself and subsequently feel good about you and the relationship. Now he leaves you, right? Meaning that he's not with you, not spending time with you anymore. And when he thinks back to you, he can't really remember anything that you said on that date. All he has to go by is his memory of how he felt on that date, which is why I always tell you, on dates, you should be quiet as a church mouse. And the only thing you really need to be doing is asking good questions, asking follow-up questions on those good questions, and then making yourself look engaged in the conversation as he's letting you know more things about him. Okay? Now, I've gotten into great dating questions to ask before. I don't want to get too deep into that because I want to stay focused on what we're discussing. But you're asking him good questions about his past relationship, his exes, himself, where he wants to be, who he wants to be, where he's been, what he wants in life, where he's like, how he views himself, his family, his siblings, all that, everything. Make it all about him. And don't worry about the fact that you don't get to discuss or share. Realize that it's actually a good thing that you don't get to discuss or share, because you're not trying to discuss or share and give yourself emotionally to any random human being. You're trying to share and give yourself emotionally to a man you can truly trust with that information. So it's better for you not to be oversharing and talking so much about yourself anyways. It actually serves two purposes at once. Because you get to stay quiet and keep your cards close to the chest and not be emotionally investing in people who haven't earned that trust, while also gathering information and making him feel amazing about himself, boosting his ego, having him talk a bunch and share with you a bunch, that he leaves the date feeling so good about the date because of how much he got to talk about himself, while you get to sit back, be quiet, relax, and receive and observe. Right? Danny P asks, how can you make it about himself without thinking that you want to be how can you make it about him, I think you might say, without him thinking that you want to be likable? Well, think about this. When you're in the flow of talking about yourself or sharing with someone, most of the time you're not thinking to yourself, I'm sharing with this person and they're manipulating me by asking me to share because they're trying to manipulate me and realize that they'll be more likable to me if I share more about myself. Like, people just become so interested in the fact that they can talk about themselves and have someone who actually looks like they really care and want to listen. They're not thinking about anything else except themselves. See, the thing is, now that we're openly discussing it, it's in your mind. So you're thinking that the way you present yourself on these dates with these men, they're thinking to themselves, oh, she's asking me a bunch of questions about me because she's trying to gather information and she wants to know this, and she's trying to make me feel these feelings that I can feel really good about her and fall in love with her, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to make sure I don't answer any questions, and I make sure that I get her talking instead. They're not thinking that, right? We're discussing it, so you're thinking that, but when you're on these dates with these people, they easily become lost in the sauce. And if you do a good job of playing your cards right, and especially do a good job of looking and feeling like you're engaged, he will have no way of being able to tell that you're doing it to elicit a particular response. He'll just be so ecstatic that he gets to talk about himself and that you seem so interested in him. Think about it for yourself as well. Think about how it would feel if you've ever experienced it. Think about how it felt. Or think about how it would feel to feel like you're actually on a date with someone who is super genuinely interested in hearing about you and wanting to get to know you better and where you've been. Whether you tell them good stories or bad stories, they're just fascinated by you. Think about what you would feel internally when someone is that invested in you. All you begin to think about to yourself is how much you like that feeling of feeling like someone's actually invested in you, feeling like someone genuinely cares about you, right? Because we go about our lives, right, the same way you probably have felt it before. The men feel it as well. We go about most of our lives feeling like people really don't care about us that much. Okay? That's how most of us end up feeling, at least at some point, right? And to have someone in front of you on a date with you that seems super invested in you and only cares about you and wants to know more about you, that is a great feeling. That's a euphoric feeling. That can become like a drug, because where else am I going to get that feeling from? Where else am I going to go where I feel like someone who's not my mom is so intensely invested in me and cares about me so much that all they want to do is sit here and listen to me talk about myself and share my life? Where else am I going to get that? Where else am I going to get that high? You see, that's how it becomes like a drug, right? The feeling becomes like a drug, because where else can I go to receive that same feeling? I can't recreate that. And so he begins associating you with that feeling because he's only been able to get that from you, that feeling. And so why does he keep coming back to you? To recreate and once again get that feeling. Are you following me so far? Okay, so the two main parts of that in making it about him and making these dates about him is asking questions. And then the second part is being engaged in the conversation as he's talking about himself. Body language. See, you're not here to speak a lot, but you also have to be aware that body language is a large part of your communication, because you could be talking about yourself. Imagine, let me know in the chat. If you're talking about yourself and I'm like this. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what did you say? Yeah. And you're yapping, right? Let's say you're yapping. You're just going on and on. And I'm like, yeah, you said what? I don't know. What did you say? What's that going to feel like to you? Is that going to feel like I'm interested in what you're saying? Or is that going to feel like I'm uninterested in what you're saying? Let me know in the chat. Okay, right? Is that going to feel, are you going to feel like I'm invested in you and invested in hearing what you have to say, or I care about what you have to say? Or is that going to make you feel like I don't care, like I'm uninterested, like I'd rather be somewhere else? Okay, I see Eshe say uninterested. I see Sharice say very uninterested. Okay. I see Kylie say uninterested. I see Kay in the YouTube chat say uninterested. I see Special K say disinterested, right? The reason I ask that and the reason I say it like that is because it's as simple as, and think about this. If you feel that I'm uninterested, disinterested, that I don't care, or I'm bored with what you're saying, that's going to discourage you from sharing more with me. Okay? That's going to discourage you from talking more about yourself, because the reaction that you feel you're getting is that I don't want to hear what you have to say, especially not what you have to say about you. And I'm waiting for it to end. And the reason I give that example is because I want you to be hyper aware of while you don't need to be coming out and talking a bunch on these dates, I need you to be hyper aware of your body language and how your energy projects outwardly. Because if your energy isn't projecting outwardly the way it's supposed to be, you're not going to be giving him that euphoric feeling. That's why I said 50% of it is asking the questions and making it about him, allowing him to speak. But the other 50% is about your body language and knowing how your body language is being perceived, that you look interested, you look invested. Your energy is projecting outwardly of someone who actually cares, who actually wants to be there. Actually, your energy is projecting outwardly of someone who would rather be nowhere else except for here, talking to you, hearing you talk about yourself and all these situations that you've been through. Okay? And as we discuss more and as you begin to understand these concepts more, you'll become so skilled at understanding what people need at particular times and how you can get what you want from them by giving them what they need at particular times. Okay? Because remember I said that feeling becomes like a drug when you're doing it the right way. He feels so euphoric being around you, and that's all he can think about when he's not around you is how good it feels to be around you. So what do you think he's gonna want to do more? He's gonna want to see you more. See, there's a particular reason that I tell you about these emotions in these particular ways at these particular times, because you're trying to always encourage him to want to be with you in 3D, not over the phone. You're always trying to encourage him to want to spend more three-dimensional time with you. Okay? Because that's how you actually grow a relationship. Not how you can get him to text you more. That's not going to make him fall in love with you. Not how you can get him to FaceTime you more. That's not going to get him to fall in love with you or be interested in you. Not how you can get him to call you more or Snapchat you more. None of that is going to get him to be more interested in you. You want to be doing everything you can that he constantly wants to spend more in-person time with you. That's how you actually force a man to be in love with you, that he has no control over those feelings anymore. Okay, so we talked about engaging emotions. We talked about anxiety. We talked about euphoria. Now let's get to jealousy. Please, are you guys following along with me so far? I want to make sure we're all on the same page still. Okay, let's get to jealousy. Now, we're going to touch on jealousy. We're going to touch on this good. I know that other people will tell you that jealousy is a bad thing, and that in a healthy relationship, you don't make your partner jealous. You should never be striving to make your partner jealous. You should always be trying to make them as secure as possible in the relationship. I won't even come out and say that those people are wrong, because you know what? I don't know everything. I could be wrong about everything. Maybe I'm just full of garbage. But what I will say is, in my opinion, a healthy amount of jealousy is always good. Good. Because every now and again, as human beings, we become complacent, specifically men. And it's always good to have a reminder, a kick in the pants, to be reminded that other people want your partner. Other people desire your partner. Your partner is a hot commodity. If you don't play your cards right, if you don't be as respectful as possible, if you start neglecting your relationship, if you start disrespecting your partner, there will be someone lurking in the shadows, waiting for his opportunity to strike on the hottest commodity around. And that anxiety, that every time you look over your shoulder, there's a hungry wolf just waiting to get his claws on the meat that you got access to. Not that you're meat, but you understand the analogy, right? And it just makes you sweat. Every day you'll wake up with just a little bead of sweat coming from your forehead, knowing that I gotta make sure I'm on top of things, because there's a bunch of hungry wolves right behind me, and they'll take it away from me if I blink too many times. That's good. And that's the feeling you get from jealousy, that we get from jealousy. It's not really about necessarily, I feel like my partner likes this person, or I feel like other men are capable of taking away my woman. She doesn't like me. She's uninterested in me. That's not the jealousy I'm referring to. The jealousy I'm referring to is that feeling you get when you sit there and you're like, why the hell is my partner enjoying any sort of time with another human being? Specifically, as a man, in this case, with another man. Why are you smiling? Why are you laughing? Why are you looking like you enjoy this conversation? Don't look like you should look like you're absolutely miserable if I'm not around. Why are you laughing and giggling? There's nothing funny. He's not a comedian. Don't laugh at his jokes, right? Don't be over here. I don't need to see all 32 of your teeth. Your teeth yellow and you know the feeling. You know the feeling I'm referring to, right? That is good. Because like I said, it reminds him that life ain't sweet out here. If you ain't working hard for your relationship, if you ain't trying your best to actually put your best foot forward in the relationship, there are hungry hyenas waiting for you to slip up. And even though they're hungry hyenas and you know that, I can trust my girl, I can trust her, it's not like she'll do anything behind my back, that hint of jealousy that you feel when you're actively able to see that, I know she loves me. I know she wouldn't cheat on me. But I also know there's so many other people that want her. There's so many other people that want to be with her. And even though it's just a laugh, even though it's just a joke, even though it's just a platonic, harmless conversation that isn't even inappropriate, I still feel just the slightest bit of jealousy. And I want you to get used to understanding that that is a good thing and allow that to fester. Don't attempt to ease his anxiety when he feels jealous. Actually, the best way to go about it is to pretend like you don't even realize it exists. That way he can feel crazy for feeling the jealousy and replay in his mind everything that transpired, without necessarily having a reason to say, hey, you were wrong. This was inappropriate. You did something. You disrespected me, right? You want it to be just enough on the edge that he feels the jealousy without you overstepping any of those boundaries in your relationship. Now, someone said, give me an example. I'll give you a perfect example. A great example would be going to an event or, let's say you go to a party together. And at that party, there's some guy eyeing you down. He comes up to you and he's starting a conversation with you. and maybe your boyfriend or your man at the time is talking to one of his guy friends, and he's starting a conversation with you, and then you guys are laughing and you're chatting, and rather than cutting the conversation short, you understand your man's over there watching, or he's, kind of close, and he can see you having a conversation. So you continue having this conversation with this guy. Nothing inappropriate. You don't talk about anything inappropriate. You don't even touch him. You don't even do, you don't let him touch you. You're not doing anything that you wouldn't allow him to see, or you wouldn't allow him to hear if he was part of this conversation. But you allow the conversation to go on, knowing that he's seeing you have this conversation, with the understanding that if he really is invested in you and he likes you, that's going to make him feel something. Okay? And the fact that it makes him feel something is good, because what's going to happen is he's either going to come over there and he's going to grab you because he's tired of watching you laugh and giggle with someone else, or he's going to pop up like after the party. This is how you know you it worked. He's going to pop up after the party, and when you guys are going home or something, you're going to be like, why are you having a conversation with that bum? Like, what y'all talking about? Like, why y'all that dude's a bum. Like, that's the type of dudes that you like. Why are you having a conversation with him? I don't understand. Like, why y'all laughing and giggling and stuff like that, having a conversation, bro. Y'all over there standing on the wall talking for like 20 minutes. I seen you there. Just let me know. Like what? That dude's a bum. I hope you don't think we on it. Like, if you hear him start talking like that, then you know you touched a nerve. That's good. That's good. Right? Because I want you to remember, let's think back to why we're here. We're talking about how to force a man to fall in love. I want you to think about when we're talking about falling in love and falling for someone, and the intensity of the emotions that you feel when you're actually truly invested in someone, right? It's not always going to feel good to be so intensely invested in someone. But that's a good thing. I don't want you to be in such fear that, if I don't ease his anxiety all the time or make him feel secure constantly, then he won't like me. That's actually the opposite and wrong way of thinking. It's the same reason why the guys you don't like are the guys that like you the most, because you care the least about being liked by them, which is why you present yourself in a particular way that you don't really care about making him feel secure. You don't really care about being liked. You don't really care about being accepted. You just do you. And the same thing you can do towards your relationship, even with the guys you like, understanding that as you just do you and don't attempt constantly to try to ease his anxiety and try to make him feel more secure and allow him to feel his jealousy, you actually end up winning, because now he becomes more and more and more invested in you, right? In combination with all these other things that we just discussed. Is this making sense to you guys so far? Okay. Right? Mary Jane says, what do you do when he does things to make you jealous? That's actually a great question. My advice when he does things to make you jealous is, this is going to sound toxic, but at the beginning, I would play a nonchalant role. Now, the reason I would only advise you to do that if you actually think you can do that. For some of you who have less control over your emotions, that's going to be difficult. But if you actually think you can control your emotions, I would advise you to play nonchalant. Why? Because he's going to perceive that nonchalantness as in you don't care or you're uninterested, which is going to make him feel like, why are you so uninterested in me? Why are you so unbothered by me or not jealous by me? Why am I not able to trigger you? He's going to start thinking that subconsciously. It's going to make him start pushing forward to start thinking, okay, I need to figure out why you're not as into me or bothered by anything I say or do with someone else. Is it because you don't like me? Why don't you like me? And it starts triggering his own anxiety and his own desire to seek your approval because you're so unbothered by anything that he does. And when he's seeking your approval, now you have him by the balls. You can get him to do whatever you want him to do. By the way, yay, we just cracked 200 concurrent viewers on YouTube. That's like a first, okay? I think for the first time we have like more YouTube viewership than even TikTok, I think. So that's yay. or it's about the same. Yay. Okay. So, very important, right? Jealousy is also good, and you don't want to be trying to ease his anxiety in terms of that. I hope you guys are following so far, right? So that was a good question. I think was it Aaron? Yeah, it was Aaron that asked that. Wow. When a guy tries to make you, it was Aaron and Mary Jane that asked basically the same question, right? Kay earlier says, I hugged a guy in a bar in front of my ex, and he lost his mind. And the thing about it is, when that happens, just don't even bother trying to, oh, but it was this, and I'm so sorry, and did it. No, just let him feel the jealousy. Let him rage. Rage is good, guys. Rage is good. Don't be in a rush to ease his anxiety because you think he won't let him rage. Let him be angry. Let him feel upset. Let him feel those intense emotions towards you. It's good. It's good. Okay? He's very good. He's very good. Shelly Anna says, act like you don't know what he's doing. If you react bad, that's what they want. It's true. Because think about it. The same way you see how bothered a guy is by his reaction towards you, when you make him jealous, right? Is the same way you would, is the same way vice versa. The moment he sees you reacting like that, it's like oh, you're showing me your card now that you're really invested in me, because the only way you'd be super jealous by something I said or did with someone else is if you were super invested in me. And so then guys start thinking, okay, I have the upper hand. She's invested in me, so I can pull back a bit, take a couple steps back, because I have my answer that she's invested in me and she wants me and she wants to be in a relationship with me, or just, cares about me. Okay. So jealousy was very important. So we talked about engaging emotions at the beginning. We talked about anxiety, and we talked about euphoria. We talked about jealousy. Now I want to discuss a very interesting concept, which is inspiration. When we're talking about how to force a man to fall in love with you, I want you to understand that these other things, as it relates to dating, they're more closely with going on dates and things like that, and how you should play the dating game. Now, I want you to think a little bit more long-term in terms of, if he's trying to make you his wife, what is he really trying to accomplish here in a larger scale in terms of making you his partner? And what he would like a wife to him to represent, because the wife is going to be the, representation of a woman to his daughter. So the reason I say that is because inspiration is a very important, intense emotion that I want you to be focused on how you can make your man or the guy that you're dating feel. There's two versions of inspiration. I'm talking about there's the first version, which is the inspiration that he sees things in you that he feels inspired by, that he also would love to embody, whether it be your generosity, the way you carry yourself, the way you go about life, the way you're so secure in yourself, or whatever it may be. He should be inspired by something about you, something about your personality or your character. The number two thing when I talk about inspiration is your ability to inspire him to reach higher heights than he even thought was possible within himself. Okay? The second one is a bit more complicated. I'll get to that one last. But first, let's tackle inspired in seeing things in you that he feels he would love to embody. I want you, because we're talking about how to force a man to fall in love with you specifically. I want you, when you're meeting and dating these guys, I really want you to put yourself in the mind of a man, and because I'll give you a newsflash. What men want in a wife has not changed. So if he's a heterosexual straight man and he likes women, he wants a feminine woman, assuming he's a masculine man. So if you're any age that's been dating, you should know by now what it means to be a feminine woman. I shouldn't have to tell you that. Okay, you're receiving. Not that I didn't say that it's sit down, shut up, you don't have an opinion, but you're more focused on receiving, right? And like we talked about, you make the relationship more about him. Let it be the dating stage, be more about him. Let him talk about himself, all that good stuff. And in the process of that, you're also aware of how you are being perceived as it relates to being a life partner. The reason I say that is because you want to be inspiring him to change his own ways because he sees the path that you're on. So, more specifically, let's imagine an idea like me and you are dating. Or we're just going on these dates casually and all that good stuff. And I'm like a party guy, I'm ready for this part of my life and right? Like I want to go out and, just to say for the sake of argument, I love to go out with friends on the weekends. I love to get drunk and do all this stuff. And you're not like that, right? Rather than trying to figure out how you can be more like him in the process of dating him, right? Let's just imagine you were dating someone that was like that. He's a big partier. I want you to be actively focused on how you can actually present yourself as someone who is not like that and not interested in being like that. Because then what happens is you become a source of inspiration that he wants to strive to be more like you. I know it sounds very strange. But when he can be inspired by you and the way you carry yourself, what ends up happening is if he's truly invested in you, he now starts feeling like I need to better myself to get on her level. Are you following me so far? The inspiration to become better is because you are better. And if he wants you, he feels that it is necessary for him to upgrade himself in order to be your partner. And so you get an increasingly better, more focused version of him because of how you're inspiring him to be a better man, which is why you hear a guy say, you inspire me to be a better man, or you inspired me to be a better man. That's part of what they're referring to. Now, the other part of what men are referring to, or what we're referring to specifically when we're talking about making him feel inspiration, is the inspiration to reach higher heights. Now, when we talk about the inspiration to reach higher heights, it's not really about being more of a man or being his man best friend that you can motivate him and help him beat his chest and, yeah, you're the man and all that good stuff. It's about understanding how your femininity can inspire him to do things he didn't even think was possible. The example I gave you guys earlier, for those of you who are just joining us or came late, I gave you guys an example of engaging emotions in a way that elicits a response earlier, and it actually has a lot to do with inspiration. The example that I gave was a reel. It was an Instagram reel that I watched like a couple days ago, where this couple was kayaking on like a lake. And this girl was taking a video in front. She's in the front of the kayak. Her man's in the back of the kayak. And she wants her man to paddle faster so they can get to their destination quicker. But rather than complaining and saying, why don't you paddle faster? You're so lazy. Oh my God, I got to do everything. She's got a paddle in her hand. Okay, she can paddle too. Why are you so lazy? Why do you make me do it? You're supposed to be the man. Can't you be a man? Can't you be the one that paddles us? She didn't say that. How she approached it was when she took the video, she said, ooh, look at you. You're such a big, strong man. Look at those muscles. Can you paddle us to our destination, baby? I know you could do. Look how big and strong you are. Your muscles busting out. He's wearing like a vest. He's not even that big, right? And as she was saying it, right, ooh, you so big and strong, baby. You could paddle us to our destination. Paddle us. You got this, baby. And he starts smiling. And he gets all giddy and excited. And what do you know? He starts vigorously paddling that boat, getting them to their destination. Okay. And that's an example of inspiration and how you can use your own femininity to inspire men to be more of themselves or a better version of themselves. And the reason I say you want to be eliciting the inspiration as one of the intense emotions he feels when he's around you and he spends time with you, because think about this. The same way I talked about euphoria, and if he feels like he's getting something from you, someone that truly cares and is invested in him, that he cannot get from anyone else, think about how addicting it is to feel like I'm Superman when I'm around you, or I can do anything possible when I'm with you because of the way you inspire me to be better. That also becomes an addiction, right? I can also become addicted to the fact, imagine if you had a particular drink that you drank, and every time, or let's say for those of you that work out, right? Let's say you had a particular pre-workout that you always take, and every time you take that pre-workout, you're like over the moon, you lift 1,000 pounds, you go crazy in the gym. And every time you don't take that pre-workout, you're not quite as good. It's going to grow your attachment to that pre-workout. You're actually going to have a lot of anxiety if you don't have that pre-workout, because you're going to feel like, I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do properly. It's the same idea. If I feel like I'm always inspired when I'm around you, or I feel like I'm always capable of doing more with myself, because at the end of the day, if I'm inspired being around you and I end up doing more for myself, I get to look at myself in the mirror and be more proud about myself because I did the thing and I reached the goal that I never thought I could reach. But the process of reaching that goal is also very closely related to the fact that I was with and around you. So now I start to associate the feeling of success and reaching my goals and getting to where I need to go with being around you. So what do you think that does to me? Now I want to be around you more. Okay. And now I know I'm talking on a level, for those of you who are a little bit younger, this might not make as much sense to you because you're like, inspires him, be a man, well, I just don't get it. Why does that matter? Why does that make guys like, trust me, as you grow older and you mature in your relationships, you'll understand why and how that is so important. Because your ability to inspire him is very vital to the delicate balance that is masculine and feminine energy. Okay? Selena says, how do I become more feminine? That is the one thing I can't really give you an answer to, simply because I'm a man and it would be misinformed for me to tell you how you should be more of a woman. But what I will say is, you would like to be receiving more and going out and pursuing less. Okay? Right? Receiving, and when I say receiving, I'm not just talking about receiving gifts. I'm talking about like receiving energy, receiving words, receiving actions, and not going out and pursuing things. That's for the men. The men are supposed to be pursuing, hunting, chasing. You should be receiving, and then also investing in yourself and doing things for yourself. Now, when we're talking about what things you should be doing for yourself to be more of a woman, I can't really give you that answer. Okay. You're a woman. So, that's kind of up to you. Okay. Go Get It says, how can you inspire your man to unfollow thirst traps? That's actually a good question. I think in that sense, when we're talking about thirst traps, I actually think the best way to go about it is to try and get an understanding of it. You see, it's something that I actually do. Maybe you guys have noticed it, and something you can practice. When you don't agree with something someone is doing, or the way someone's going about whatever, the best way to get them to change their action or opinion is actually not to tell them that they're wrong. It's to ask them questions that they end up saying they're wrong by themselves, because then they don't feel forced to say it, and they don't feel like you made them look dumb. They feel like they did it because they realized that they were wrong, which is why asking questions is the best way to get anything you want in life. Because even though you're asking questions that you may or may not already know the answer to, the process of them answering that question themselves makes them feel like they came to their own realization, which is what motivates them or inspires them to take action on that realization, as if the thought or opinion was of their own. I know that sounds like master manipulation, but these are part of the things that you begin to learn after a while. Okay. The moment you start arguing with someone and telling them, hey, you should feel like this. Hey, you should think this. Hey, this is how you should be doing things and everything like that. And everything you've been doing is wrong. People immediately become defensive and take a stand against you, even if what you're saying is correct. The best way, Kai said it just now, is the power of suggestion. By making them feel like it was their choice, and they chose that path because they came to the conclusion that that was the best way to go about it. So as it relates to that question about the thirst traps, let's say if you're dating that guy, rather than saying, hey, I don't like why are you liking all these girls' pictures, this and that, you can be like, well, so we're obviously in a relationship and you obviously care about me, and it would be upsetting to you if I was showing attention to other guys and disrespecting you. You obviously never want to be disrespected, right? And she's obviously going to say yes if he's dating you and he's in a relationship with you. And then you can ask him, so why do you go on Instagram and like pictures? What does it do for you? Right? You don't even have to make an assumption. You can ask him, what does going on Instagram and liking the pictures do for you? And be like, I don't know, I just like them, I just whatever, and just this and that. And then you can ask him, okay, so do you think that those girls see that and think that you're interested in them? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about it. And then you can ask him, well, if I were posting pictures on Instagram like half naked, would you think that I was seeking attention? Like, yeah, that'd be seeking attention. That'd be I wouldn't want my girlfriend posting pictures on Instagram, and then be like, well, if I'm seeking attention, then all the guys who like my pictures would be validating me. Yeah, they're validating you because they're obviously liking your picture because they see you have naked on the gram. That's obviously validation for you. Okay, so then if you can acknowledge that, then wouldn't that mean that you're giving those girls validation by liking their pictures? It's not the same. It's not the same. And just leave it at that. You don't even have to say anymore. Just leave it at that. And that's how amazing asking questions can be into trapping someone into a corner where the only possible answer is the same conclusion that you've already had, but just allowing them to come to that conclusion themselves, where they realize anything I say against that or in contrary to that makes no sense. And then you don't even have to tell people you're wrong or I'm right. You just let them fester and sit in that. And eventually they come to the realization that, yeah, I was wrong. Okay. Madison said, I've done this before. They left me for an OF model. Yeah, that could be a very specific case. I don't know. You'd have to let me in on your whole situation. That's crazy though. That's crazy. Okay. Power of suggestion. Maybe one day we'll have a whole conversation about the power of suggestion because it can be so powerful to get what you want from people. Okay. Emirates says some start gaslighting when you ask them questions. Well, here's the thing is that, remember we talked earlier about not being bothered and being unbothered? You can't ask the questions and then be bothered by the answer, because then that makes it obvious you're trying to lead them in a direction. You have to ask questions and allow them and actually anticipate that they're going to actively try to avoid answering it in the correct way or the way that you want them to answer it, and ask them follow-up questions until you finally back them into a corner where anything they could say makes no sense after that. You see what I just did there in the example that I gave you, that you only get that skill over time, but with practice you can get that skill by asking questions to the point where you just back people into a corner and the only possible conclusion is I was wrong. You never want to tell people they were wrong though. Allow them to admit to you that they were wrong through suggestion. It works way better. Diva says, talk about always being available when they hit you up. I've talked about that many times on this show, not this specific one episode, but this show in general. So you got to look back to some of plenty of my rants about not being available when they hit you up. Okay. Go Getter says, yeah, my boyfriend started gaslighting me after I asked him about it. That's the thing, you have to ask people questions. Let them give you the answer that they're going to give you. And even if you don't back them into a corner and get them to admit that they're wrong right away, just allow it to sit with them, because eventually they start feeling dumb about the fact that what they're saying is making very little sense. And trust me, even when people are trying not to look stupid or trying to make excuses for themselves, eventually they start to realize that their excuses are very, very outlandish. Or maybe they don't. In which case, you also have to do the job. See, this is the thing. If you do the job of being in a relationship with someone who takes accountability, when you ask leading questions like that, where it's obvious that they're wrong, they just eventually take accountability. Now, if you build a relationship with someone who doesn't take accountability, that's a mistake in itself. And you'll always be frustrated when you try to get someone to admit they're wrong who doesn't take accountability. Okay, so for some of you that tried this method, it might not work, but the mistake wasn't in the method. The mistake was in the fact that you actually have to start off being in a relationship with someone who can take accountability. These are part of the things that you really want to be learning when you're dating people and in relationships with them, is knowing if this person can take accountability or not. Right? The style siren says, why do people care so much about Instagram? Everyone has their own cup of tea, you know what I mean? And everyone has their own things that they care about. Me personally, I always tell you guys not to put so much onus on social media and things like that. However, I do understand why women feel disrespected if guys are liking girls' pictures, half naked girls' pictures on Instagram all the time. But when it comes to Instagram as like messaging and communication and let's be best friends because we meet over Instagram DM, no. I don't agree with that at all whatsoever. But I do think that, you don't want to be putting all of don't allow a app location that you could delete from your phone to ruin your relationship. That's all I'll say about that. Okay. Right. Okay. So I have a ton of Discord questions today. So I want us to into the Discord so we can get to all of these questions, because there's a ton and I want to make sure that we're able to answer all the questions. So it's Discord time. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. Okay, let us hop into the Discord. Let's see here. Okay. Discord time. All right. First we have up, let's see here. First up, we got, we got lots. Oh my goodness. We got lots. Oops. Let me put this over here. So we did Lisa yesterday. Baby Bliss. I think we did Baby Bliss before, but it's okay. As long as we didn't do it. Okay, so we got screenshots here. Buckle up, guys. There's screenshots. So Baby Bliss asks for advice. Hi, Tomisin. I'm a 25-year-old female, and he is a 25-year-old male. We've been on Friends with Benefits for on and off for 4 years. He has said so many times that he loves me but not ready for a relationship because he needs to get his job right. For 4 years? Okay. He's looking for a job currently. I tried your technique and pulled back. When I noticed he wasn't chasing much, he called me once 2 weeks ago and once last week. I didn't pick up both calls, and these were his messages and my response. I was a little cold because I don't like the way he disrespected me last time. He thinks I'm playing games now by only seeing him in person. Today is his birthday, so I called him 2 times and he didn't pick up, but later responded to my text. I called again and wished him... Oops. I called again and wished him happy birthday, and he cut the call quickly. I know I shouldn't have called. I know I have I know I gave, I think you meant to say, the Squirtle away, but I still want ways to get him to chase me. Hold on. I still want ways to get him to chase me. And I have full control over him. Here are our text messages from last week, and after I didn't pick up his calls, I didn't end up leaving him on red until today when I called him for his birthday. Okay, let's see here. Something in my eye. Let's see here. These. Oh my God, she sent us a plethora of screenshots. Hello, good morning. I just woke up. What's up? Good morning. I've been trying to get a hold of you. You've been busy. You got a lot of stuff. Oh, good. Okay. I've been busy. I'm just skimming through these guys. I've been busy. Okay. I have a schedule. Book an appointment to talk to you. Oh, this is great. See, you had him. Book an appointment to talk to you is awesome. That's good work right there. Let's go out of this. Oh, pull up the Discord. Is good. What's your problem? Oh, see, you're giving him anxiety. See, this is all good. So you don't have time tomorrow. See, this is you were doing so well. He's asking for princess treatment. That's funny. So where are you gonna take me out? Right? Look at him. He's like, look how needy he is. See, I love this because this is a clear example of how easily you can get a guy seeking your approval just by taking the advice and taking a step back. Look at what he's at. You okay? Right? I'm fine. I'm cool. Whatever. Right? And then he's like, so you don't have time to call me, but you have time to chill tomorrow? Look at how he's complaining like a child. He's why don't you have time to call me? I want to talk on the phone. You don't have time to call me? That's exactly what you want. Okay? This is exactly why I say it works so well. Even with this, what's your problem? I want to talk to you. What's up with you? Are you okay? Look at this. This is how they get when you actually do the thing correctly. And it's great because we just talked about anxiety, but look at what the anxiety does. Okay? Look at how he's treating her now. Look at how what's wrong? Why don't you want to talk to me? I want to talk to you more. You don't want to talk you don't like me anymore. Look at everything that you've been doing when you like a guy. Look at what this exact same thing that the guys do. You don't like me anymore. You don't want to call me. Look at this. Right? So where are you going to take me out? He's the girl now. He's the girl. Okay, I see how it is. Right? And these are the type of things. This is great. Actually, I'm glad you sent these screenshots, but these are the type of things I want you to understand. Don't be trying to ease their anxiety. If I were you, baby Bliss, the only advice I would have gave you is be even more short. Make it seem like you actually just lost interest in him, because that will give him even. Don't be sending it. This is too much. Don't be sending this too much. Just be like, yo, I'm fine. I'm chilling. I'm doing something. Right? Like, just almost make it seem like you're disinterested in him, that his anxiety can continue to look how you got him by the balls. And the thing about it is, the moment you ease, I know it was his birthday, so obviously you called him for his birthday, but I just want you to see how the moment you call him, right? Now he gets his power back. Right? You call him 2 times, he doesn't answer. He gets to be the big man and say, I don't answer your calls. I didn't pick up when you called, right? And he feels good about himself because he feels like you're seeking him out. You want to talk to him. You want to message him. And now he doesn't want to message you back, or he doesn't have time to take your calls. He's giving you a taste of your own medicine, right? And the moment he gets that power back, right? Now he's all of a sudden he gets to be in chill mode again. So my advice to you, baby Bliss, is if you want him to be chasing vigorously, continue to do what you were doing earlier, but even less. Like, literally, don't call him, don't text him. And when he's asking you about calling on the phone and speaking on the phone, just be like, look, I'm actually newly busy now. Like, I have a lot more stuff on my plate and I don't have time to be talking on the phone. I don't have time to be texting all day. If you want to schedule a day that we hang out, I would love to do that, because then I can, book it into my schedule. But it's gotta be like 4 or 5 days in advance. I can't do last minute hangouts. I just don't have the time anymore. Right. And that's all you need to say. Aside from that, don't be responding to any of his, just let it cook. As he becomes more desperate, let him cook. Eventually he'll realize the only other option is to say, all right, let's plan a date for 5 days from now. Cause I want to see you now and I'm desperate now. That, like, once you say the thing, I'm busy, I got things to do, I can't be texting, but if you want to hang out, we can do it in person. You just got to book it in my schedule. He might try to call you and text you some more, get you to respond. And if you continue not responding, he's going to be left with one of two options. Either he's going to have to walk away from the relationship, or he's going to have to say to himself, my only option is to start getting her in real life on dates and scheduling this time with her, which is exactly what you want. This is how easy it is to look at the sad poor little boy. What's your problem? What's up with you? You okay? I'm telling you, it's easy. It's easy. Just don't be in a hurry to make them feel secure and to not have them feel anxiety. It's so good. You get anything you want. What's your problem? That's funny. Okay, so next we have Angie. Angie says, placed pineapple boundary. He got mad. Female 35. Male 25. We are not dating. We are in a long distance. We are a long distance hookup. Okay. For months now, we have pineapples in real life and virtual video. This got spicy fast. Interesting. He asked me for something that I wasn't comfortable with, so I let him know, but he got upset and felt I was disrespecting his, did you mean to say dirty mind? Is that what you meant to say? Dirty mind? I told him this isn't going to work if we don't have trust and respect, and he told me every day something with you. Should I have considered his desires, or is this a sign he just wants pineapples? We both walked away and haven't talked in 4 days. Angie, I'm a bit confused because at the beginning you described the relationship as we are not dating. We are a long distance relationship hookup. So if that's your understanding or that's your description of the relationship, then that clearly is what you've established. So why are you confused if what you've established is presenting yourself the way it's meant to present itself? A long distance relationship hookup is basically you guys text about pineapples. That's what it sounds like. Because for you to just not just say long distance relationship, but say long distance relationship hookup, and you do it in real life and virtual video, it really just sounds like you're getting each other off, which there's nothing particularly wrong with that. But why are you confused that you're just getting each other off and that's the main focus of the relationship? And then you're confused why he's frustrated when you set a pineapples boundary. I mean, that's kind of the purpose of the relationship, is that you guys just do pineapples together over the phone and in person. So when there's a boundary there, it kind of feels for him like, well, I'm not getting what I'm in this relationship for, which is for pineapple experiences, whether it be in person or over the phone. And the reason I'm saying this and I'm very confused is because I don't understand how you can describe your relationship with him as that and then be so confused about why he would be frustrated when you try to set a pineapple boundary. Because are we going to not acknowledge that he would probably be in this relationship for the same reason that you're just describing, a long distance relationship hookup, that he can text you about pineapples and dirty talk with you and whack himself off? Okay, Angie, like, let's be for real. if this has been going on for, you said, for months now, and he's just whacking himself off, if he hasn't mentioned to you building a relationship by now, he's not interested in doing it. He's just interested in whacking himself off to whatever you say to him or show him. If that's the case, then you're just wasting your own time expecting something to grow from him whacking himself off to you on virtual video. I don't know how else to describe that to you in a way that's digestible. Like, don't expect anything from this relationship. He's whacking himself off to you on virtual video. When he's actually trying to build a real relationship, he's going to be meeting that person in person. And even if they were long distance, it would be focused on like building the relationship, not just whacking himself off vigorously. Okay, so Angie, you need to be there for what you're there for. If you're there for a long distance relationship hookup, then be there for a long distance relationship hookup. I'm not going to be here to tell you how you should live your life. If you're there to build a relationship with someone and build something real, then be there to build a relationship with someone and build something real. Don't be doing all of this stuff that you shouldn't be doing if you're not in a committed relationship with that guy. It just doesn't make sense. You're not in a committed relationship with the guy and you're doing all of this stuff because yes, it's fun for you, right? But if you're just going to want to have fun, that's not in the same breath as him taking you serious. You can just have fun, but you will just be fun to him. If you want to be taken serious, you're going to have to take things serious. You can't just focus on your fun. You either have one or the other. Now, once you're in the committed relationship, of course, you can have oodles of fun. But if you want him to take you serious, then you have to take things serious. You can't be so focused on, oh, I'm just doing it because it's fun and it's, you know, it's happening right now and this is what I want to do and I just do what feels right. Cool. If you want to do what feels right and not think about the future or how it might hurt you in the future and you don't want to think of any consequences, cool. Just have fun, but you will only be fun to him. Don't be thinking about all the ways you can just have fun and then wonder why people only see you as fun and don't take you seriously. Okay? Now, as it relates to you considering his desires, I think if you're going to have a pineapple relationship, there should be an openness to everything pineapples. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be uncomfortable with certain things, like if he wants you to take a poop on his chest or something like that. But however, I think being open and doing everything that he wants you to do is two different things. Being open is just understanding what it is that he might want or enjoy or like or be into, understanding why he's into that. And then if you're uncomfortable with that, understanding the root of the thing that he's into, the KINK or whatever it may be, and then trying to figure out some ways you could satisfy that without going to that extreme. Okay, so that's my advice to you on that. Next we have, let's see here. Wow, we have so many. Next we have Iana. How to know and understand if he is genuine. By the way, guys, I want you guys typing out real full questions because this is I can't answer this in detail. How to understand and know if he's genuine, I don't know. It could be a plethora of situations, right? I would say mostly go by his actions, but you haven't given me a specific situation to go off of, okay? So I can't answer a question in detail. That's vague. What's next? Holly says, okay, I guess the message was deleted. If the message was deleted, I can't read it, obviously. Next we have, okay, IC says first date. Okay, let's read what IC says. Is it possible to make a man pursue you and want a relationship with you if you had pineapples on the first date? Once again, this is a pretty vague question. I would love to know your specific situation. However, I would say it is possible. Anything in this world is possible. Is it likely that he'll want to be in a relationship with you after you have pineapples on the first date? No, it's unlikely, simply because naturally his desire and hunger for you has been satisfied by fulfilling himself by being inside you. So once he gets access to your Squirtle, you're literally biologically fulfilling that hunger and desire for you to be with you and get to know you and discover you and grow with you. So that's a mistake. We talk about that all the time. It's a mistake. It's possible to get him to pursue you, but you're going to have to take a whole step back. You're going to have to walk a mile backwards and take a step back from him, that he can actually realize he wants to chase after you. And for most of you in this situation, when you take a step back, he'll just stop talking to you because he doesn't care about you. Sorry. Next we have X says, new situation. Oh, wow, this is juicy. New situation using your method. Okay, I, female 20, have known a coworker, male 22, for about 1.5 years on and off because I was going to college. This is how, on and off. Because I was going to college, this is now my final period at this job. Our conversations have always been light and friendly, but because we are both very attractive, everyone has tried to pair us together before. When I left in January, we both had partners. Now I'm back this May, and we discovered that we both ended our relationships on the same day. Okay. Ever since he learned this information, he has been going out of his way to come up to me and have increasingly long and deep conversations, sometimes pursuing me for most of the 12.5-hour shift. Are you guys working at all during this time? I'd be mad if I was paying you. I've been using your method. I don't use the phone at all, and I don't chase or seek him out. And I ask him questions when he comes to me so he can yap more. And I am pretty sure that it is working and that he has interest in me. He has been talking about how he wants to find a wife, his life goals, spirituality, yada, yada, yada. When he asks me about me, I give generic answers and then ask him more questions. Thursday, you see, you're practicing all this. This is all good. Thursday, let me see, make sure this is good. Thursday, oops, I went away from it. Sorry, gotta pull it back up. My mistake, guys. Let me find my place. Thursday, I showed up after a modeling shoot looking good, and he asked me if I went out with someone. When I told him I had an event, he tried to pry more info out of me unsuccessfully. Saturday, he told me unprovoked that one of his love interests came up to him and asked him why he wasn't with his girlfriend, referring to me that day, and if I was gone. He said that he responded, "You're being weird," and emphasized that the interaction confused him because, for one, I'm not sure how she found out about us talking, and two, she's assuming that we are interested in each other. I didn't address this is funny actually. I didn't address the last statement, just told him that the walls have eyes and that she must have been joking or teasing because they have some history. I'm wondering how I can shift the conversations we are having outside of the workplace before I quit the job. Can you please advise me on how to get him to take me out on a date instead of trying to yap to me all throughout the shift? I thought I should make myself more scarce at work, but he already just walks around the whole building and sees me, so it'd probably have low efficiency. Should I say I'm too busy, or is there another option I can incorporate? Unrelated questions. When is it okay to give up pineapples? What is the effect? What effect does telling your partner about other guys' interest in you have? Does it make them chase you more, or does it turn them off at a certain point? Okay, this is a great question, X. Okay, I want to answer this in as much detail as I possibly can. So, X, for you, in your situation, I think that it's best for you to continue doing what you've been doing. Obviously, you've been following my advice, and it's been working for you. Now, as it relates to you quitting your job, I actually want you to quit your job with no plan of reaching out to him. See, here's the thing. If he's truly interested in you, right, and he's yaps to you all this stuff now, and he's become accustomed to coming to you, talking to you at work. Like you said, he yaps to you and pursues you for most of a 12.5-hour shift. Okay, right? He's yapping to you for most of his shift, meaning he's become accustomed to you being in his life and the conversations that you have and how much he appreciates and enjoys you being around. Obviously, when you quit the job, you're no longer going to be around, and now he's going to have to make a decision, because if he's really interested in you and he really likes you that much, he literally has to start pursuing you outside of the workplace because you're unavailable in the workplace. So the position you're in is actually a great position, because knowing that you want to escalate this relationship out of the workplace, but also the fact that you're literally going to be not in the workplace is great, because now the only way he can see you is by seeing you outside of the workplace. Trust me, if he's really that interested in you, he will come to that realization that I just said by himself. And once he comes to that realization, I guarantee you, he will reach out to you over message or on Instagram or whatever. And he'll say, hey, I know you quit your job. I know you're not here anymore. You want to go out for lunch? You want to go out for dinner? You want to go out for whatever? I guarantee you, if he's really yapping to you for most of a 12-hour shift, I guarantee you, the moment you're gone, he'll say, yo, I'm so sad. It's so boring without you at work. You want to go out to get something to eat together. Bingo, you're there. Okay? Like, this is why I always tell you guys, let the men cook. Don't get all anxious that you're like, oh, I need to do something. This guy is already pursuing you. Let me let you in on a secret, X. Guys, don't make jokes like this or even tell you about situation. Why is he telling you about someone asking about, you as his girlfriend and all this stuff like that? You think, be so for real. Be so for real. He's not bringing that up to you for nothing. He's bringing that up because he wants to feel like, hey, other people see our chemistry. That's probably because we actually do want chemistry. Subconsciously, he's really asking this question to see if you agree with the idea that you guys have chemistry. It's secretly, this is how people work. It's secretly a way to validate himself that you are also interested in him. Because if you respond with something like, oh, I see why they would say that. I mean, we're always talking and we're together all the time and blah, 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 right? Then he can be like, okay, so you think we have chemistry too. We're on the same page. But if you don't respond that way, or you're like, I don't understand why someone would think that we're literally casual friends, well, that becomes his answer. So secretly, he's not bringing this up for no reason. He's bringing this up subconsciously because he wants to see if he can be validated in, I feel a way towards you and I feel like we have chemistry, but do you feel like we have chemistry, or is it just me? Okay. And so I say that to say the only reason he would be bringing stuff like this up, while it might seem small and insignificant, is because he has a level of interest in you. And once a guy has a level of interest in you, literally all you have to do is sit back, relax, receive, and allow him to cook. Just everything he's doing is giving you signs that he's interested in you and is trying to pursue you. I know it's at work right now, but as you continue to just stay your distance, let things cook, let things simmer, he will continue to push the envelope and try and go further and try and do more, especially when you quit your job, because he's going to literally go from seeing you for 12 hours of a shift to not seeing you at all. That's going to be a drastic change. That's going to hit him like a pile of bricks. And he definitely, if he's actually interested in you, will reach out to you and ask you on whether he might not present it as a date, but he'll say, hey, you want to go out, get something to eat? Hey, you want to go out here? You want to do whatever? And he'll try and make it seem casual. But what he's really asking you out on is a date because he's interested in you. Okay. Next we have, no, Angie, we just did. I think this was a response to Angie. Yeah, that was a response. Okay, next we have Kish that says, how do I get the upper hand? Okay, interesting question, Kish. Okay, so Kish asks, female 34, single, hi Tom, hello. I really enjoy your show and the wisdom you possess at 27. For those of you guys that didn't know, I'm 27. Tommy 27. I have been dealing with Anthony for some time now. You guys don't have to give names, but it's if you give a name, it's fine. Let me give you a little background. I have known Anthony going on 7 years. When I first met him, he was married. I ended up getting in a relationship and having twins. Later on, Anthony admitted that he was hurt that I got pregnant. Huh. Even though the year before, him and his wife welcomed their fourth child. Fast forward, Anthony gets separated and ends up moving around 2021. Okay. I ended up moving in with my kid's dad in 2023. Long story short, he ended up being my side dude while I was in a relationship. Okay. Let's buckle up. Because I wasn't satisfied pineapple-y by my kid's dad. Okay. Prior to me moving out, Anthony said things would be different. We would hang out more and have more access to each other. Yep, sounds good in a Disney princess movie. Fast forward, I moved out and he has shown zero effort of doing anything we discussed. We never hung out. He never invites me out to cook or even FaceTime me like he used to. Now I'm in a position where he only hits me up for pineapples because I don't have any other pineapple options. I accepted his low efforts and run when he hits me up. This is sad. But recently we had pineapples and that was 3 weeks ago and I haven't heard from him since. Oh my God. I called him the other week and he ignored my call. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? But he watches my IG stories every time I post. I have his IG muted. My question is, should I show my emotions and tell him off? Or should I play a mind game and go over there and not give Squirtle? Or, wow, those were two horrible options. Or should I act like it doesn't bother me? I want to get the upper hand, but I'm weak for his eggplant. I want to get him in a position where he is giving more. Okay, Kish, you have quite the conundrum on your hands. This is the problem. This is the problem with messing with married men. I know at the time, you were the one in the relationship, not him. But guys like to talk a big game. And the thing about it is, the same way you get them is the same way you lose them. And you saying that you first met him when you were married, I understand that you could meet him when he was married and it could have been platonic until he ended his relationship. But usually, obviously, I don't know everything about your situation, but usually that's not what happens. Usually when you first meet someone and they're married and then you end up in a relationship with them, usually there's a little bit of overlap, meaning between the time they were in a relationship or married and the time that they broke up and then got with you, there was an overlapping period where they were in a relationship and they were still kind of doing some inappropriate things with you. Maybe not physical, but emotional. Okay. Now I say that to say, if you show yourself as someone who will just mess around without no expectation of commitment, it's easy to manipulate women like that. And remember, I tell you guys that men realize that you watch Disney princess movies and they realize how badly you want that in your life. And they realize if they can present themselves as Prince Charming, it's the easiest way to continue getting access to you. I think flat out, he just used words to manipulate you into getting more and more access to you. that he would have to do less under the understanding that, I'm trying to build a relationship with you, but he just used words, not actually any actions. Then obviously when you finally moved out, he showed you zero effort. I don't think this was like out of the blue type of thing. I just think you weren't reading the signs. Okay? Because think about this as well. If he was really interested in building a relationship with you, do you think that he would be okay with him being your side dude? If he was actually truly invested in you, do you think like that would be acceptable for him? I'm not quite sure what you were expecting though. Um, it seems like you were expecting to be in a relationship with him, but why couldn't you? My question is, why would you move out with the expectation that you're moving out for the relationship rather than moving out because you end the relationship with your baby father because you don't want to be in that relationship, then exploring this one? And I understand that you want to get him to be giving more to you. First of all, these two options here are horrible. Don't even dream about doing either of these two options right here. Tell him off? No, don't do that. That's absolutely useless. It just shows him that you're super bothered about the situation, and all it does is give him a whole bunch of power that will feed his ego. Play mind games and go over there and not give him Squirtle. Waste of time. You probably won't even accomplish that goal anyways after saying that you're weak for his eggplant. So you're just pretending as if you're going to do something when we all know here, me as a man and all the women in the chat know, you're not going to go over to his place and stand any type of ground. You're going to act like you will. He'll say a couple of nice things and then you'll do what you were already going to do in the first place. All right. So that's a horrible option. Don't do that. Act like it doesn't bother me. Now, act like it doesn't bother you should actually mean just move on. And like truly not have it bother you and not be bothered about whether he'll come back into your life. Be focused on the fact that you've moved out and you're free now to explore new relationships, because if this guy's known you for 7 years and he hasn't yet made a commitment to you, truthfully and honestly, it's probably never going to happen. And especially not now that you are free and he has put in zero effort. He's told you, not with his words, he's told you with his actions, how he actually feels about you and the relationship. So you're good now. You have your answer. Don't be worried about what he's doing or not doing. Also, it's fine if you're weak for his eggplant, but understand you will just be getting used for Squirtle. That's fine if that's what you want to do. Don't be upset or confused when he only wants access to your Squirtle and he's not interested in building a relationship. Don't be so focused on, I'm just having fun. It's just fun. We're just having fun. We're just living in the moment. Cool. Live in the moment and you'll be the fun girl. I told this to Angie before. You're one or the other. You can either take yourself seriously, take the relationship seriously, stand your ground and not give him access to you like that, and then he'll take it seriously, or you can only be focused on your fun and enjoyment and pleasure, and then you'll just be for fun. That's fine, but don't be confused why you're just being used for fun. So, Keish, I think if you actually want him to give anything more to you and start pursuing you, you have to pull all the way back and stop texting him, stop calling him, stop anythinging him. Okay? Stop giving him Squirtle. I don't care how much you want his eggplant. Stop giving him anything access to you until he starts taking it seriously to the point where he says, okay, I don't just want to have access to your Squirtle. I actually want you, and I want to see you and take you out and spend time with you. Now, I'll be honest with you, that's probably not going to happen. He's probably not going to do that because I don't think he actually has a real, genuine interest in you. Just going to be real with you. But that would be the only possible way you could get what you want out of the situation, okay? I think for the most part, you've really presented yourself as Easy. I don't know how else to say it. And so I don't think that he would automatically be motivated to make the relationship harder when he's gotten accustomed to having access to you with zero effort. You literally said he showed you zero effort and you still would go over there to his house. So why would he switch that up? Makes no sense. Okay, so that was the show for today. I know I have a bunch more Discord questions to answer. Don't worry. Tomorrow, I'm going to get to more Discord questions. And now that I know I have a bunch in the queue, I'm going to try to hurry up on the show so I can get to the Discord questions as well. So don't be in fear if I didn't get to yours today. I will get to yours by tomorrow or by the next show. You got to make sure you're here for all the shows. You can't just be asking a question. I only want to get my question answered now, and then I'm going to escape into the vortex and never to be seen or heard from again. Okay? So if you have a question for me, you go ask it in the Discord. The link's in my description if you're on YouTube. On TikTok, it's in my TikTok bio. If you want to follow me on Instagram and see everything that I'm doing and you want to just fall in love with me, cool. You can go do that on Instagram. My Instagram's right on top of my head on the top left of your screen there. And for those of you on YouTube, it's at the bottom right there. If you want to rewatch, you're on TikTok and you want to rewatch this show, you're like, this is the best show ever and everything about the show is amazing. You see right above my head where it says my name, you just type my name into the YouTube search bar and you'll find my YouTube page with this live stream that just happened, because I go live simultaneously on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. And all the previous live streams with the TikTok chat and the YouTube chat embedded in the live stream, that you won't even miss not just my convos, but all the convos that are happening on both platforms at once. It's so amazing. It's such an awesome experience. Okay. I am here Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, actually 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I was just setting up today, which is why I was late. I was setting up, obviously, the new studio. I got a new couch, a new chair, and all that good stuff. But tomorrow, everything will be more settled in. So I'll actually genuinely be on time, and I'll be on time for the rest of the week. For real, for real, for real. Okay? So I love you guys so much. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. I'm going to perfect my setup so it's absolutely amazing in this new studio space. And we'll have an amazing show tomorrow as well. Until then, arrivederci. What is that? That's Italian, right? I'd be coming up with stuff out of my butt. All right. And I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, I love you.